Part 17. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 161. There's no need to take the test. Yang Ceci's eyes were filled with joy. Li Junlu followed Zhang Guang, overjoyed and boasted, "You are still promising. You have married such a good partner. Your sister is not as good as you." Yang Ceci was glad that she did not grow up beside him. As a father and the head of the family, he did not set an example to teach his children to be positive. Instead, he compared the two in everything. "What is the difference between growing gu and cultivating gu?" she said with a half smile. "Yue has a high degree of education and has seen the world. The person she likes will definitely be good, and he will be successful sooner or later." Li Junle gritted his teeth. "He has such a bad future. He idles around all day long, and the good news falls from the sky and hits him on the head." Li Yue lay in the room and heard clearly what was said outside. "I can't believe that Qin Yanxi could be admitted to Kyoto University." She came out limping. "Sister, my brother-in-law hasn't touched a book in 10 years, how can he pass the exam so easily? It's not like your father-in-law took the exam through the back door, right?" Yang Ceci said meaningfully, "You know his affairs better than I do. How can my father-in-law just send him to university? Isn't it unnecessary?" "Song Hanmei," said Yin Yang, "of course I know better than you, after all, he and Yue." Li Junlu scolded, "Stop talking nonsense." Song Hanmei muttered, "Who is talking nonsense? If Qin Yan's speech was clean, why didn't he prove his innocence?" Yang Ceci said, "Why do you need a CI to prove his innocence? If you doubt it yourself, you should find evidence to prove it yourself. And Li Yue, you said that you and a CI shared a bed, and he had a few moles on his chest. Do you know?" Song Hanmei motioned to Li Yue and said, "Yue, tell me. What did I say? 2 or 3? It's an old story. Who still remembers it?" Li Yue's voice stopped abruptly. Yang Ceci grasped the key point. "It's an old thing? Is it considered old if it's more than a few years ago? He just came back. Could it be possible that you went to the northwest to share a bed with him? He doesn't have a mole on his chest." Li Yue was speechless. "Have you finally exposed the truth?" Yang Ceci stepped forward, swung her arm, slapped him on the ground, and said, "You are shameless for framing the person who framed me. Oh my God, my foot, my foot!" Li Yue fell to the ground and moved her injured foot, wailing in pain. Although Song Hanmei hated Li Yue as much as she could, she was the one who gave birth to Li Yue. Mother and daughter were connected, and she felt heartbroken. She yelled at Sisi, "You white-eyed wolf! You are such a snake-hearted person that I love you so much. Normally, forget it. How could you be willing to hit her if she hurt her leg?" Yang Ceci said confidently, "She was the one who was hit. If it were a man, I would have hit her with my iron fist. Was it a fall? In fact, it was Feng Shuangzi who did it. I heard everything when Feng Shuangzi came to her with chicken soup that day, but they didn't tell me how it happened. And in our house, the two of them did that. Call a hot one. If she hadn't been married, I really don't know what they were doing. But it was precisely because of this that she chose not to say it. Sorry. Li Yue, dot. Song Hanmei, dot. Li Junlu was furious. It's embarrassing, he scolded Li Yue for being shameless, and also scolded Song Hanmei for being incompetent in educating her daughter. Yang Ceci left silently. Let out a long sigh. He who announced the good news ended up like this again. She and this place have nothing to do with each other. Back to the courtyard, the sky became gray. Yang Ceci pushed the car into the yard and locked the door behind her. Qin Yanxi was not in the side room, she walked into the main room. In the living room, the mother-in-law is accompanying the second and third children of the Qin Jin family to build blocks. She said, "Mom, I'm back, where is ACI?" Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 162. He's in the study with his dad. Are your family members all at home? Yes, I'm very happy to hear that ACI was admitted to Yenching University. Mother Qin thought to herself, your family has already taken a fancy to our family background, but now that our family has another top student, your family has another hope, can you not be happy? Alas, she really regretted not listening to Lao Qin when he said that there was nothing wrong with the banquet speech. Believing Yue Chun's deception, he thought that with Yanxi's temperament, he would find a well-matched person. After the couple had a dispute, he would hurt the person and bring trouble to the other person's house. Lao Qin would not be a good person. Ho anxiously found an easy-to-control target for the banquet. Now, Yan Ci has a colder personality, has his temper under control, and has been admitted to Yenching University based on his ability. Wouldn't it be easier if he was paired with a girl from a high family and rose to prominence in the future? Sci was born in the countryside and has never read a book. From now on, both men and women around Yan Ci will be highly educated talents, if you know that he has such a wife. Shouldn't you laugh at him for being superficial, only coveting beauty and not paying attention to the inner meaning? The more she thought about it, the more irritable she became, and she didn't want to take care of the child. He called to Ceci, I suddenly feel dizzy. Please help me look at them. Oh, okay. Ying Ceci agreed obediently. After Qin's mother left, Ying Ceci sat next to her and watched over the children. After a while, she began to play with their building blocks, sometimes making a duck shape, and sometimes a pig's head. The two children thought she was awesome and sweetly called her aunt. Ask her what else she wants. There are so many, take a look. Ying Ceci was playing enthusiastically. Qin Yanxi and Qin Yanjun walked out of the study. "Si, it's time to rest," Qin Yan said. "Ying Ceci, where are they? What do they care about? They are not our children." Qin Yanxi took Ying Ceci back to the wing. When Ying Ceci opened the wardrobe to look for clothes to change, she remembered that she had put the clothes here and took them back to the family courtyard to be washed. The rest are the thick clothes she brought with her when she came from the country. Originally she wanted to bring thin clothes, but Li Junlu said that he would buy new ones for her. It's okay not to mention the result. ACI, I forgot to bring my pajamas back. The weather has been a bit hot these 2 days, so I took off my autumn clothes and trousers. Lend me your shirt to wear when I sleep. Qin Yanxi glanced around and saw a white long-sleeved shirt in her hand. Wear this to sleep with bare legs? Isn't this forcing him to make mistakes? Either go back to the family home to live, he said. How can I explain to my parents that I'm leaving now? If you want to leave, you can go and I'll stay by myself. Ying Ceci went to the bathroom, came back and closed the door to change clothes. As she crossed her hands to get rid of her clothes, she raised her eyes and met Qin Yanxi's direct gaze, which made people scared and shy. She blushed. ACI, why don't you turn around? Although there was no secret between them. But she did not change her clothes in front of him. Qin Yanxi turned around. Ying Ceci quickly changed her clothes and got into bed. You should wash up and rest quickly. Qin Yanxi said hoarsely, I can't sleep. Then you can do it yourself. Ying Ceci closed her eyes and fell asleep quickly. I was woken up by a crying child in the middle of the night. I opened my eyes and subconsciously touched the side. Empty. She turned on the light and found Qin Yanxi sleeping on the floor. The sudden light stung him and made him close his eyes tightly and cover the light with his arms. ACI, the bed is enough for you, so why are you sleeping on the floor? The bed is too small. It's not bad, it's only 1.5 meters tall. Ying Ceci got out of bed and pulled him. As Qin Yanxi adapted to the light, his arm was pulled away again, and he felt that his eyes were completely white. Is her legs. His heart was beating wildly. She really didn't want him to live. I have a headache. His breath was slightly heavy. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 163. Ying Sisi stretched out her hand to test his body temperature. Yeah, your forehead is really hot. She took out the thermometer for him to measure, poured water for him to drink, and wringed a wet towel to apply to his forehead. Qin Yanxi was full of warmth. Sisi, do you think it's pleasing to my eyes if I wear glasses, or if I don't wear them? If he wanted to say that it's pleasing to his eyes if I don't wear glasses, the next time she showed up, he would hide in the guest house and not see her. It's all very pleasing to the eye, but you're not short-sighted. Wouldn't it be uncomfortable to put a shelf on your face? Will the bridge of your nose be crushed? Ying Sisi reached out to touch his nose. It's so high. Does it count as the fear described in the book? Qin Yanxi couldn't help but laugh. How could it collapse? You choose the one that suits your eyes or not, eh? Ying Sisi said, wear glasses. They have depth and appear stable. After all, he had been wearing them these past few days, so she couldn't tell her what to say. He will be unhappy. She wanted him to be happy. Qin Yanxi immediately took out the thermometer, got up from the ground, and pushed her to bed. I don't have a fever. Let's do something else tonight, okay? Ying Sisi was confused by his trick. You're not joking again, are you? How come? It's better to say goodbye. I'm worried that others will hear if we make any noise at night. Ying Sisi refused. Qin Yanxi, Qin Yan's speech was rejected by Ying Sisi, and the banquet was laid on the floor again. Ying Sisi couldn't resist him and fell asleep by herself. The two of them planned to go hiking the next day, so they went back to the courtyard and changed into sportswear. When we reached the top of the mountain, we happened to meet a photo studio master taking pictures of other people. Qin Yan said, "Sisi, let's take some photos too." She took many photos when she got married to that man. Each one is beautiful. It's a pity that it's not him standing next to me. This time, he also wants to keep two. As for when he will be discovered by that person, it all depends on God's arrangement. Ying Sisi said, okay. The two of them took photos leaning against the stone tablet on the top of the mountain according to the photographer's request. Go to the Penglai Photo Gallery on Haining Road in the East District to pick up the photos in 3 days, the photographer said. Ying Sisi Ying Xia. The two of them stayed at the top of the mountain for a long time before going down. They picked up their cars from the parking lot and went directly back to the family compound. After 9:30, Qin Yanxi started to pack things. Ying Sisi wondered, "Aci, what are you doing? I really want to go back to the courtyard to stay tonight. You can rest early at home." Ying Sisi is confused. Why go back so late? What's wrong with you again? Live wherever you like. I am quite comfortable alone. She said obediently. Oh. Qin Yan's words curled up. She was really obedient. He lowered his head and kissed her forehead. Sisi, see you next time. Ying Sisi lowered her eyelashes and looked from left to right. See you next time? Haven't we seen you tomorrow? She had to follow him today to find out what he was up to. After Qin Yanxi left, Ying Sisi also left. Secretly returning to the family courtyard, she climbed up the wall and looked into the wing through the window. Fortunately, he didn't draw the curtains. He sat at the desk and didn't know what to write. At about 11 o'clock, he put down his pen and turned out the light. Ying Sisi was even more confused. Come back to review your homework? The book says that geniuses have eccentric personalities. He was admitted to Yenching University, so he is considered a genius. right? It's normal to be a little weird. Yang Sisi jumped off the wall and walked home. As soon as I entered the house and lay down, the door rang. Yang Sisi went out to check. She was stunned when Qin Yanxi appeared at the door again. Didn't he say, "Go back to the courtyard"? "ACI, you miss me, don't you? I haven't seen you for a few days, and I miss you too." Qin Yanxi lowered his head and kissed her. Yang Sisi, hello, you. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 164. When Yang Sisi woke up, it was already broad daylight. She sat up and leaned against the bedside, recalling the ridiculous behavior between the two of them. Can't help but blush. Qin Yanxi came in from the outside and looked at her with fondness in his eyes. "Daughter-in-law, I passed the competition and was admitted to the university in Yanjing. Are you happy?" Yang Sisi was frightened and lost her memory again. I even forgot about being with her. She wanted to ask him last night why he left and came back, but he didn't give her a chance to tell her. She pretended to be excited, and then carefully probed, "ACI, have you suddenly forgotten what happened yesterday?" There was a hint of concern in Qin Yanxi's eyes. "Why do you ask? Have you forgotten what happened yesterday?" Yang Sisi, "It's my turn to ask you this." What should she say so as not to irritate him? Correct. You can ask your father-in-law. As a father, he must be well aware of his son's condition. But when she thought about her father-in-law peeking at her, she felt uncomfortable. It's so annoying. "Daughter-in-law, why don't you speak?" Yang Sisi looked at him, and something flashed in her mind. While wearing glasses, he could remember everything and even call her Sisi. Without wearing glasses, he would forget things and call her wife. Why does this seem to be getting caught up in Li Yue saying that he is sick again? She said worriedly, "ACI, I'm fine." She smiled, "I remember you have a pair of glasses, why haven't I seen you wearing them?" Qin Yanxi's eyes flashed, "I don't want to wear it, why do you ask this suddenly? You are now a student at Yenching University, wearing glasses makes you look well educated." Qin Yanxi smiled and said, "If you don't wear it, you will be uneducated." No. Yang Sisi planned to take the photos the two took while climbing the mountain in a few days and put them in the most conspicuous place to stimulate his memory. If he goes mad. She held him down and forcibly took him to the hospital for examination. The doctor said it's best if you're not sick. Sickness needs to be cured. Yang Sisi got up, had some food, and sat down to watch TV. Qin Yanxi told her, "Daughter-in-law, I'm going out for a trip, you take care of yourself at home." Yang Sisi thought to herself, "Where are you going?" She said, "Okay." Once the others left, she moved to the kitchen window and looked down, waiting for Qin Yanxi to ride on the road and go out. As soon as we arrived at the door, the person was gone. I asked the guy at the gate and he said he turned into the alley ahead. Yang Sisi followed the instructions of her brother into the alley, and there was only one main road left at the end. There was no sign of Qin Yanxi. "Where have you gone? Now that we're out, let's take a walk." Yang Sisi went to the platform near the family courtyard to wait for the tram when she heard someone calling her. Turning around, she saw Shen Zhengrong riding a bicycle towards her. "Sisi." Yang Sisi's face darkened. "Who are you calling Sisi?" Shen Zhengrong's smile never faded. "I brought you some food on the third day of the third year of junior high school. My uncle went to her hometown overnight. After entering the village, I quickly remembered what happened back then, and found the injured old lady's house where she was staying. The old lady confirmed that after her uncle left, her aunt agreed to the pursuit of a young man surnamed Li because he did not go back to propose marriage at the agreed time and was pregnant, instead of hosting a banquet so that the child could settle down. In order to compensate the other party, help the other party get a place to return to the city. As a result, the man left and never returned. Before she was about to give birth, my aunt had an argument with her eldest sister-in-law. She was pushed by her eldest sister-in-law and fell, causing difficulty in giving birth. She bled heavily and died after the baby was born. After finally growing up, the young man named Li took him back to Yanjing and got engaged to the Qin family. The old man almost died of anger after hearing this. He wanted to see her in person, but his brother-in-law disagreed and said that he had harmed both mother and daughter. I knew that she might not know how to hold her grudge against him. This matter cannot be rushed. But the old man couldn't wait any longer. He couldn't bear the sudden appearance of a granddaughter who didn't take her father's surname. So he was told to approach Sisi first and put on a good face in front of her. Please vote. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 165. Yang Sisi glanced at it and saw that the packaging in the iron box was quite delicate, with patterns of wine-filled chocolates drawn on it. She had seen it when she went to the mall. Small boxes were the cheapest for only 1 or 2 yuan, and large boxes cost more than 10 yuan. How much is this, right? First he called her Sisi, and then he didn't face her problem squarely. Instead, he used food to distract her. To show your courtesy for nothing is to be either an adulterer or a thief. No need, also, please call me sister-in-law. Shen Zhengrong was in a dilemma. He didn't know her identity. It was understandable to call her sister-in-law before, but how could she call her sister-in-law now? Qin Yancy should call him brother. Is Yancy at home? I happened to see him for something. He had to tell Qin Yancy the truth. Let the other party test Sic's attitude. Yang Sisi always interrupted him when she saw him, and she didn't even talk to him for more than a few words. Just as the car was coming, she got on it without saying hello. Shen Zhengrong dropped his bicycle and chased after him. The tram stopped stopping after the stop, so he had to turn around and ride on, but was soon thrown away. Yang Sisi looked at him through the window. While Qin Yancy was not with her, he called her name and gave her expensive chocolates. Obviously trying to seduce her. Shameless. Originally, I thought he was lucky and wanted to let his partner get a touch of it. There is no need to continue contact now. The tram stopped by the housing management office, and Yang Sisi went straight to the service hall. Ask about issues and details you need to pay attention to when buying a house. And record the feedback received, and then find the seller according to the address on the notice. It is a tube building next to Dongcheng district. The location is in room 206 on the second floor. The walkway is long and narrow, and the kitchen of each household is along the wall. If you don't avoid it carefully when walking, you may bump into other people's pots and stoves. I never imagined that there could be such a difficult environment in a bustling urban area. She listened carefully with her ears pricked up. She could hear the voices in several rooms nearby. This place is good. Every day we discuss daily necessities, rice, oil, salt, and social dynamics. She can grasp all of them, and the information she gets from them is always useful to her. She walked to the door thoughtfully, raised her hand and knocked lightly on the door. The person who opened the door was a young woman. He has a case-yang haircut and dresses modestly. You are seeing Yang Sisi's eyes wide open, the other party asked. Yang Sisi said directly, have you posted a notice for sale? I'll buy the house. Oh, I'm buying a house, please come in, the woman invited her warmly. After Yang Sisi entered the house, she brought tea and water. Girl, please. Yang Sisi was very wary of strangers and did not drink after taking it. She looked around and saw that the walls were stained and the decoration must have been old. The room is equipped with a bed, a table, and a brand new radio on the table. There was an old cabinet standing in the corner, and there was a pile of clothes in a mess at the end of the bed. A total of about 10 square meters. It's small and blocked, and if you buy this house, you'll have to renovate it. She has to keep the price down. Where is the toilet in your house? Where do you usually wash your hands? At the end of the corridor is the bathroom. The toilet is on the right-hand side downstairs, quite far from our house. Don't worry about the smell in the summer. The woman led Ying Sisi out and pointed out the specific direction. Ying Sisi still accepted it after reading it, and asked, "How much does this house cost?" "I can't decide the price. I'll wait for my boss to come back and let him negotiate with you." "How soon will it come?" "If it's 5 or 6 o'clock, I won't wait." Ying Sisi was thinking about the food and drink at Chin's banquet, and didn't plan to stay long. "It takes him such a long time to get to work. Why don't you leave a contact address and I'll ask him to talk to you in person later." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 166. Ying Sisi didn't intend to tell her, and said politely, "The place where I live is relatively remote, and it's not easy for him to go there." "Well, I saw this house, and I paid 700, and I don't want anything in it. If your boss is willing to sell it, please take you and him to the housing management office at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and we will go through the transfer procedures there." The housing management office handles the transfer procedures. Ying Sisi raised her eyes. "Huh? Can't you do that?" Okay. Then it's decided." Ying Sisi left after talking about the business, and when passing the department store, she suddenly thought of the box of wine-filled chocolates. There was a surge of anger in my heart for no reason. Does she seem easy to coax? He actually used a box of chocolates to seduce her. She had to taste something. She got out of the car and entered the mall and went straight to the candy display cabinet. She pointed to the same chocolate as Shen Zhengrong and asked the salesperson how much it cost. 15. "Here's a box." Ying Sisi paid for it. Hand in hand with the box of chocolates, I took the tram home. When I got off the train, Shen Zhengrong was still there. "You're back." He probably knew that his address made her unhappy. He didn't know what to call for a while, so he said hello dryly. Suddenly, she found the box of chocolates in her hand. Ying Sisi noticed his gaze and raised her head arrogantly. "I can buy what I want to eat myself and I will never rely on a man." Shen Zhengrong realized later that she had misunderstood herself. "I was the one who gave the banquet. He said he likes to eat chocolate." Ying Sisi saw that he was not getting enough food and salt, so she turned her back and sneered, "The dog just said he would give me food." Shen Zhengrong. I will buy whatever my partner likes to eat, so you don't need to worry about it," Ying Sisi said and left. "When you get home, wash your hands immediately and unpack the box. The chocolates in the box are wrapped in gold paper, which is very delicate." She tore off the wrapping paper to reveal the dark brown core. "It smells sweet when smelled up close, but also has a slight bitter taste. Hold it in your mouth, it is still sweet, and the outer layer of chocolate melts, revealing a faint smell of wine." She is not very used to it. After eating two and putting them away, I walked to the guinea bird's nest and found a shallow crack on the egg shell. "Are you about to break out of your shell?" At this time, there was the sound of the door opening outside. Ying Sisi turned around and Qin Yancy walked in. "This egg can't hatch after so many days. It's probably broken." "But there are cracks on it." Ying Sisi pointed at the cracks and said. Qin Yancy shined a flashlight and saw that the 3 eggs were a dark mass. "It's broken a long time ago." He threw it into the trash can. Ying Sisi was in a low mood, and taking care of her for so many days was actually bad, and all her hard work was in vain. Sure enough, it is difficult for a child to grow up without his mother's love. Qin Yancy immediately thought of her and hugged her. "Daughter-in-law, it's all over. We should look forward. Yang Sisi smiled. He was so kind, attentive and considerate. I just lament that my efforts have not been rewarded. What he was thinking about was that she had no mother. Although her mother left early, she felt that her mother had always been silently in the sky. Protect her. Qin Yanxi, if you want to be rewarded for your efforts, let me tell you good news. The 26 copper coins are written in Manchu with the name Tianming Tongbao. 5 of them are well preserved, 1 is 30, and the remaining 20 are 26 pieces total. You get 507. Yang Sisi was so excited that she forgot to react. 3 yuan turned into more than 500 yuan? What a good thing. Definitely selling it. Sell now. She was worried that people would regret it later. Qin Yanxi smiled and said, okay, I'll sell it right now. Don't be in a hurry. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 167. Yang Sisi, didn't you crawl through it yesterday? Even if you forget something, you won't do it like this, right? There is also the matter of selling copper coins. He said it was not promising 2 days ago, but he sold it today? And he has been with her these past few days. When did he inquire about the situation? Clone technique. His situation made her very worried. At 6:30 p.m., Yang Sisi planned to cook. There was a knock on the door outside. Sisi, are you at home for the banquet? Yang Sisi opened the door. Dad, Mom, why do you have time to come here today? I just went out. Mother of Qin, what are you doing out so late? Yang Sisi's eyes flashed slightly. I didn't say anything. She didn't dare to tell her mother-in-law, because they were going against the wind and trying to do business. Qin Yanjun said, did the banquet say when you will come back? It's been an hour, I guess it's almost time. Yang Sisi estimated. How long will it take to sell things? Then let's wait here and stop cooking. I'm going to take him to the restaurant to celebrate his admission to Yenching University, Qin Yanjun said. Didn't we celebrate before? Let's celebrate again. Yang Sisi didn't want to go. I didn't sleep well last night, so I want to go to bed early today. Qin's mother looked at her like an elder and said sideways, wouldn't it be better to celebrate a few more times? Sisi, I'm not telling you that you always stay at home and don't go out to communicate. As time goes by, people will become dull. Banquet speech. When I go to college, I will be surrounded by top students who have seen the world, but you don't. What nonsense are you talking about? Qin Yanjun's expression was as usual and his tone was serious. Yang Sisi's heart tightened in shock due to her calm and insolent appearance. Other than Qin Yanxi, this was the first time she was frightened by another person and became stiff. People with status have a strong aura. Qin's mother was even more frightened. She immediately put away her elder attitude and said softly, I am also worried about Sisi's future. Qin Yanjun, have you figured out what to worry about at home? Mother of Qin was speechless. Yang Sisi stood aside and walked away, and stayed. In order to stay away from the center of the conflict, she still retreated to the room without saying hello. As soon as she left, Qin's mother said in a low voice and aggrievedly, what are you doing to me in front of my daughter-in-law? Isn't what I said the truth? With Sisi acting like this, it will be a problem to educate her children in the future. I don't want my grandson to fall into her hands, accomplish nothing. As long as you can do it, everyone else is useless. If your son can do it, why won't he marry you? Qin's mother's face turned red with anger. You. What am I? Qin Yanjun warned in a low voice. From now on, you are not allowed to say anything that disparages Sisi, otherwise we will not be able to get along. Mother of Qin was suddenly discouraged. The two of them sat there for half an hour before Qin Yanxi opened the door and entered. I only saw my parents, but not my sister-in-law. I was a little anxious. Daughter-in-law, daughter-in-law. I'm here. Yang Sisi stuck her head out and responded. Qin Yancy pushed her into the room and took out the envelope. It's a deal, 507, you count. Yang Sisi was overjoyed. Can I still not trust you? By the way, my parents invited us to a restaurant to have dinner, saying it was to celebrate you. Qin Yancy, didn't you celebrate already? What else are you celebrating? The man's letter made it clear that after he was admitted to college, his mother cooked a large table of dishes in the courtyard. Is it possible that Lao Qin made a special trip to celebrate SISI this time because he didn't notify SISI? No, that's not right. SISI didn't show up when he was admitted to college. Even if his father didn't ask, wouldn't the troublemaker sister-in-law say why your wife didn't come? That man heard that he had a daughter-in-law and didn't ask about it? When he came back in the early morning, he was only focused on being intimate with her and completely forgot to consider this aspect. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 168. Suddenly, he thought of the questions she had asked him this morning. Some dead guy must have known about it and found his wife. Like him when leaving, deliberately concealing her presence. It is more likely that he got into his bed and slept with his wife. His heart became cold and his eyes gradually became gloomy. Yang Sisi was stunned again by his reply. Did he not lose his memory? You may remember to celebrate, but why don't you remember to get along with her? Selective amnesia. Still just don't remember her. She was about to test him again when she raised her eyes to meet his gloomy eyes. She was somewhat used to his moodiness. Patiently said, ACI, what's wrong? Have you thought of anything unhappy? Qin Yancy lowered his eyes and looked back at her, his eyes deep and complicated. After a long time, he carefully considered, daughter-in-law, I thought about what you asked me this morning. I think there seem to be some gaps in my memory these days. Am I right, sick? As the stone in Sisi's heart fell to the ground, he finally realized something. It doesn't matter if you are sick. We will go see the doctor tomorrow. Qin Yancy felt a sense of security in her heart. It turned out that even if she knew he had a problem, she would choose to face it together with him. No need to see the doctor, just recall it for me. When Sisi was about to say something, Qin Yanjun's voice came from outside. Sisi, banquet, it's time for dinner, can we talk to you later if you have anything to say? Shen Yushan came to him after noon today and said that he had just returned from Sisi. When he returned home, he was able to confirm that Sisi was his daughter. Even though he asked for the photos taken when she got married. After seeing the photo and wanting to meet someone, and also worried that Sisi would not recognize her father, he said he would book 2 rooms in the hotel and sit next door to listen to her voice. They are waiting now. He's taking his time here, but don't get angry because he's impatient. ACI, let's talk about it when we come back later. It's not polite to keep our parents waiting for us. Qin Yancy suppressed his strong desire to explore. Yeah. The two of them went out together. Qin Yanjun rode Qin's mother to the front. Qin Yancy and Yang Sisi followed behind. Yang Sisi's eyes followed Qin's mother, and she heard all the words he said. If the father-in-law hadn't stopped her in time, wouldn't it be time for the mother-in-law to speak out her disparaging words? Or maybe the father-in-law is deliberately trying to make a fool of himself. After all, he knew he had good hearing. Let's think about something happy. She said, ACI, I went to see the house today. It's a tube house with about 10 households on the first floor. The environment is not very good. They cook in the corridor. It's smoky and the walls are burnt. It's all dark. The room is about the same size as our living room, but I think it's convenient to stay there to get information about business. She was able to find the black market by chatting with women. Looking at a house. Well, I told you Jian'er, and you agreed to it at that time, Yang Sisi said honestly. She sat on the pole in front of his car and turned her head just enough to see his face. She looked straight ahead without any trace of her. There was no response, but his hand tightened on the handlebar. "Seems like you are angry?" she confessed. "ACI. Can't you remember? It's okay. I will stay with you even if you have amnesia. I have an impression. What did I promise you? I promised that the house belongs to me alone, and also agreed to lend me money." Ying Sisi thought to herself, "You have to admit it. But I don't need to borrow your house right now, because I don't think the house there is worth it. I only offered 700, do you think it's high? I don't know much about the price of houses. To be honest, I've never seen Tongzilu. From your description, it looks like a dormitory. I don't even want it for free. But if you like it, buy it. My money is your money. Just take it and use it, borrow it or not," Qin Yanxi said generously. "When I go to college, you will be responsible for the allowance." "Damn it, I told you in advance. Let's see what you can do to show your generosity in the future. How dare you be with my wife behind my back? I won't sleep at the end of the month, and I'll see how you show up at the beginning of the month." Ying Sisi smiled and said, "Okay, controlling his salary is equivalent to controlling this person. Please vote." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 169. The group of people arrived at the entrance of Sugongfu Hotel. Ying Sisi walked slowly, covered her mouth with her hand, and said in a voice that only the two of them could hear, "ACI, why do we come here to eat again? Old Zhao doesn't know you, but he knows me. If he finds me accidentally, by the way, if you know Dad's identity, Dad will be in trouble, right?" Although she had a slight grudge against her father-in-law for peeking at her, she didn't want him to get into trouble. Qin Yanxi frowned slightly, listening to what she meant. That guy had been here with her before? So how many things have he done with his wife these days? Are they? His heart bleeds at the thought of the two of them in bed. He suppressed his pain and anger. So what? Who will believe him when he says he has nothing to show for it? Besides, if you have a deal with him and he betrays you, won't he expose himself as well? Yes, Ying Sisi smiled with her eyes bent. Sure enough, people still have to look at the problem from the perspective of a bystander to see clearly. The authorities are confused. At this moment, she was keenly aware that someone was watching her. Looking up, she saw an old man with gray hair standing at the window looking at her in the private room on the second floor corresponding to the main door downstairs. When he saw her, he smiled and waved. Ying Sisi was confused and said to herself, "I don't know him." She looked around and saw that her parents-in-law had already entered the hotel lobby, and Qin Yanxi looked forward. There is no one else around. She was sure that the old man was greeting her, so she responded with a polite smile and waved. Qin Yanxi saw this. What to do? An old man upstairs said hello to me, and I said hello back. Ying Sisi pointed, and the person had disappeared. Qin Yanxi smiled and said, "Where is it?" Ying Sisi was depressed. He was there just now. Mr. Shen, who stepped back to avoid Qin Yanxi's eyes, smiled, "We are so in love when we meet. This girl is so smart and knows how to respond to me. If you grow up in our Shen family, you don't know how outstanding you are. When you find a partner for marriage, who will get Qin family? I heard that Qin Yanxi has something wrong with his head, and this marriage is out of the question. Shen Yushan has been stimulated these past few days and is mentally exhausted. His eyes are tired and dim, and his words are a little weak. Dad, what you heard is in vain." Qin Yan resigned from the age of 15 and went to the countryside in place of his brother. He has a sense of responsibility and loyalty. He will stay on the farm for a while. It's been 10 years, and I was admitted to Yenching University just 1 month after I came back. I'm not very talented. How could I be sick? Shen Zhengrong echoed, I gave Yan Si proof, but Grandpa didn't believe it, saying that he asked a reliable person to inquire. It's true that Yan Si has a bad temper, but as long as you don't mess with him, he won't cause trouble for no reason. If in the beginning, if I hadn't discovered that he was locked up in the warehouse when he suddenly fell ill and was hospitalized, he would have returned to Beijing with me to study at university. Send someone to check on this matter later. I said at that time that it was strange that I was hospitalized and asked you to check. You said that I was fine, but maybe I had a bad stomach. It's been half a year now, and many people have returned to the city. How can it be so easy to check? Yang Sisi entered the private room upstairs, where Qin Jin and Lu Yuechun were already waiting. Both of them were smiling. Lu Yuechun said, "It's okay." The waiter came in and asked several times if he wanted to serve food. Qin Yanjun said, "Come on, everyone is hungry too. Si, take a look at the menu and add more if you like it." "I'm not picky about food, everything is fine." Yang Sisi opened the stool and sat down. Lu Yuechun said, "Yan Si has worked hard these days. Now that he has been admitted to Yenching University, can the review matter come to an end? What are your plans before the start of school?" Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 170. Qin Yanxi said expressionlessly, "Preview the knowledge in college in advance. If you work so hard, your studies in college will definitely be heavy in the future, and you will spend less time with Sisi. You two have just gotten married, why don't you have more fun? Sisi has been in Beijing for a while, why don't you go back to your hometown to visit?" Lu Yuechun's words were off topic and prevented Qin Yanxi from continuing to study. Such a high level of talent coupled with hard work. Is it still okay? Qin Yanxi's eyes were dark, like the dark night outside the window. Aren't you worried enough about your 4 children? You still have time to take care of us. Lu Yuechun choked. Yanxi, when will your attitude towards your sister-in-law change? Are you ready to completely separate from us? Qin Jin said unhappily. It wasn't very ripe at first. Qin Jin said angrily, "You. Okay. We start making noise when we meet." Qin Yanjun scolded, and the private room was silent. He softened his words and said, "Sisi, while you are free during the banquet, you can decide which day you want to go back, and I will book a ticket for you." Yang Sisi, Qingming Festival. There is something else I want to discuss with you. I have been taken care of by a grandma in my hometown since I was a child. She is childless at this age, so I am going to take her over and take care of her. Mother of Qin was preparing to object. Qin Yanjun said, "Okay, isn't there another room in the family courtyard? It's just enough for her to live in." Mother Qin was so angry that her chest was beating loudly and she cursed. "Are you not sure about your situation? Without a job or income, I completely rely on my son. I don't object if you want to support outsiders in your old age, but you can't use my son's money, right? If his money is not enough, why don't you ask us for it? After all, we are raising the old lady. How can there be such a truth in the world?" The same goes for Lao Qin, who allowed Yang Sisi to do whatever he wanted. "I plan to rent another house for her to live in." "Mom, didn't you say you would arrange a job for me before?" "I've thought about it. It's feasible, but I don't know much about literacy, and the only jobs I can do are probably manual jobs, and I can do those." Yang Sisi has decided to work and get paid to silence her mother-in-law. She always thought that she relied on Qin Yan to support herself. "And the house in the family yard does not belong to you. Bringing outsiders in to live there is inappropriate both emotionally and rationally. But what she said made Shen Yuxian and Mr. Shen next door feel heartbroken. This is the only girl among the grandchildren of their Shen family. Hunted to the point where he could only do manual labor. Mr. Shen scolded, "Tell me, what's wrong with you? It's your brain. It's caused my granddaughter to suffer for so many years. Grandpa, please keep your voice down, don't let SISI hear you." "Can I not know?" Mr. Shen put his ear to the wall and eavesdropped. Getting older. It is impossible not to accept old age. When he was young, why did he need this? That's right. Worker halfway through her words, Qin's mother was interrupted by Qin Yanjun. "We'll talk about work later. Sisi, you can take the person over first. If you want to live outside, I can also arrange it," Qin Yanjun said in a hurry. Qin Yanxi said calmly, "My wife said she rented it, so what can you do? I don't agree with the work thing either. My wife is not at home, so I can't worry about my studies at all. If she wants to work, she also goes to the library of Yenching University to do it. The administrator accompanies me to study. Dad, this is not a high request, it depends on your network skills." Qin Yanjun, brat. Are you close? Don't you know that in order to select talents, your superiors strictly check those who enter the school through the back door? Even though I am a librarian, I still need a degree, okay? Librarians need academic qualifications.